Paintbrushes. Oh, what have I done with those paintbrushes? Oh, hello. Welcome to Tweed's Garage. And have I got an uplifting video for you? So, welcome back to Tweed's Garage. Update on the Riley, not a lot. As I've said before, I tend to flip from project to project, and the latest project is more necessity. No, it's not the decorating, but they're off for a while. It was actually a pallet truck. Pallet truck, I ask you? What do you want a pallet truck for? It'll only get in the way, you'll only trip over it, you'll curse and swear at it and wonder why you ever done it. Well, there's a reason, and it will be coming soon to Tweed's Garage. But I need to move things around, so I've got to move the lathe again. And I did borrow a pallet truck before, but I thought, well, it'd be quite handy to have one, because then, for whatever reason, if it was just in the way or you had to get something else in, just to move a lathe out of the way, you know, really easily, will be a boon to the workshop. And as I said, yeah, there is something afoot. So here's the finished article. It's a 2,000 kilogram lifting capacity, British made, I think, 1996 manufacture, pallet truck. And yeah, what do you mean I haven't painted it? Yeah, I have painted it, but it's it was just a rough and ready paint job to cover up what it looked like before. I'll show you some pictures of what it looked like before. It was in a bit of a state when I bought it, but it sort of cost me £20. I know, I always had. But it rolled, but that was about all it done. It rolled around, but it wouldn't pump up was the main problem with it, which I suspected might have been a stuck release valve down here. This little arm moves and it pushes a little plunger in, which pushes a ball bearing, which releases the pressure out and allows the cylinder to go back down again. So I suspect it was actually stuck. It was stuck on, so that wasn't working. But there was other issues with it as well. These arms were seized here, and they run from here all the way to the lifting axles at the end, and they'd seized both ends on both sides, so it was frozen solid, so it all had to come apart. And so here's a little montage. So I spent 2 evenings beating it with a hammer and stripping it down. The way it's put together is roll pins on everything, punched through. Most of them came out. I decided to strip the jacking mechanism down because I wasn't quite sure what was wrong with it, and when I took the handle off, the plunger popped out anyway, and it stank. It was full of sort of water and hydraulic fluid. So I drained it out. There's a drain plug here, take that out, and then I removed the top up screw there just to let some air in to let it all flow out. And I disassembled, I took the plate off, and the plunger, the release plunger behind was seized, and it was seized open, so that's why it wasn't pumping up. So I took that out and cleaned it. It was mainly that the plunger itself was rusty and it was dragging on the opening that it pushes through. And then the other side, there's a sort of one-way valve for when you're pumping the hydraulic fluid. It pumps through that way and then pushes the piston up, but it can't flow back down again. So the only way is up, as she sung. And then to release it, all you do is you pull the handle. For those that don't know, I'm sure most of you know, which pushes the plunger, which opens the chamber and then releases the pressure back out of the raising piston chamber. So dead simple but effective. So there's a lot of turning work on the lathe. Made these new bump rollers, and it has on the front, I think that's when you bump them through the pallets or up a step, these ones, and then these spacer rollers either side as well, and then new axles for the front rollers and new swing arm axles as well. Clean the rust off of these rod pins. These are the ones that are sealed, and because there's like a little nylon bushing, there's all swollen together and locked it up. But the bushes are okay. It's just to clean the rust off, and yeah, they operate nice and smoothly now. So all the rollers have had new bearings in, a bit of a wash. And just a bit of a paint job, just to sort of tidy it up a bit and protect it. And then new steering wheels, new bearings on the back wheels or the steering wheels. A new bearing in here, and then it had this sort of protector which looked like a bit of downpipe. It wasn't quite long, there was a bit of a gap, so I cut another bit of downpipe and sprung them together so there's no gap. So as you've seen, I made the axles for the rollers and for the forks, and then the little coaster rollers on the front and the spacer rollers. The only thing I had to buy in was 9 roller bearings, 8 for the wheels, and then 1 for the steering mechanism. The only other thing I had to get hold of was the hydraulic seal for the pumping piston. Because it had water in there, I decided that it's probably failed, so I hooked it out, and it's quite a thick seal. And when I watched videos of these people repairing these, the modern ones tend to use O-rings, so I thought I might have a bit of trouble, but luckily it had a part number on it. So I went on the interweb of things and discovered it was a Claren hydraulic seal. One of their spec sheets came up with a part number on, and it described the seal, and it described why it had fabric backing on it, because the more pressure that builds up behind it, it squashes against the backing, and it expands the seal, making it a tighter seal. So I found the company had a website still, gave them a ring, suspected they're a big industrial, deal with big industry normally. So I said, oh, I'm after a seal, I've got a part number. He said, oh, fire away. So I gave him the part number. He goes, oh yeah, we've got those. How many do you want? I went, just the one, please. It's for a pallet truck I'm rebuilding. He went, I'll send you one out as a sample. which is really nice. You know, it probably doesn't cost a lot, but it's just a nice gesture, you know, sort of rather than doing all the paperwork, it's easier to send one in the post. So yeah, sort of shout out to Claren Hydraulic Seals Limited. Yeah, excellent customer service. Yeah, really pleased. So yeah, and the other thing, put some new roll pins on it, just a box of roll pins. So I think all in all, it cost about 45 pounds materials, £20 to buy, so £65. The paint, I had half a tin of it in the shed, and it was sort of leftover rattle cans for all the other stuff. So the only other thing I needed was hydraulic fluid, but I had a look into it, and you can use ATF, automatic transmission fluid. It's the same type of thing. It's a hydraulic fluid, it's just that it has more additives in it and sort of corrosion inhibitors and that kind of thing, so it's dearer to buy. But I had a bottle of it on the shelf that was doing nothing, so I've used that, and it's yeah, it's working superbly now. So yeah, you'll have to sort of come back and have a look and see why we needed to build this, because there's big things happening soon. See you again. I can smell dog shit. And I said